Hey friends, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to hell. Welcome to the show. I need to stop saying that. Welcome to Friday, farting around and fuxing with some stuff. 1.6 inch propeller, 75 millimeter motor to motor 2S is absolutely wild. But there are limitations. That was me just whopping around the front yard. Here, let me play the rest of this. Hold on. I was a little confused as to. All right, so hold on. First things first. There's been a weird issue with this for a while, where when I changed the VTX power, as you saw towards the end there, nothing happens, which is super annoying. So I'm plugging it into Betaflight. We're gonna take that usually means it's a VTX table issue, and so we're gonna investigate here. But yeah, one of the main things I want to talk about here today is what the actual limitations are of 1.6 inch propeller rigs. It's basically wind. I really got to experience this in Long Beach. Long Beach I brought the 2-inch rig. In Denver, Colorado. What didn't make it better is that the air is really thin there. All right, so what? Oh, this is the HDLRC Spectre AIO. Interesting. So yeah. Oh, hey. Okay, it worked. Look at it. That's all I care about. In the menu, it was still showing 0. But no, it looks like it's on 400 million watts and pit mode is off. So that's good. Perfect. Done. Low power disarm is on. I want that on until first arm. There we go. Let's save that. Low power disarm on until first arm. Good. Race band 8, 400. Pit mode off. Okay. Beautiful. So, yeah. We're going to talk about both digital and analog builds. I flew both in Denver And that's the build that the 04 blew up on that we took a look at 2 days ago. And so yeah, we're going to talk about both of them. I actually cranked the motor limiting up a little bit on this one. So this is my favorite analog 2S setup. I have another analog build on 1002s. 1002s could help the situation a little bit because they're a bigger motor that's going to stay a little bit cooler, but I don't know. I think the next step for me is going to be to do a 2-inch 2S analog setup. With 1002s, I kind of think that on an analog 2S 1.6-inch prop build, I kind of feel like these 802s are good to go. 802, 19,000 kV motor, motor limited down to like 80%, 85%. I've now turned this up to 90%. Yeah, it just keeps getting better. I don't necessarily want to run it at 100%. That's kind of an obnoxious amount of, what's 19,000? 19,000 doubled is what, like 38,000? That's a lot. 38,000 1S equivalent kV on 1.6-inch props. That's kind of nutty. I think these 19,000s at 90% is really kind of as high as you want to go. But, you know, feel free to go even more ballistic. Here's the rest of that flying. And so, like, the limitations that we're going to talk about, I don't notice here. Can you stop it? Get out of here. I don't really notice the limitations out in front of the house. Out in front of the house, it's absolutely amazing. Like, this is so much fun. There is some interesting kind of jello going on. Is there anything weird? It's just at one specific kind of throttle percent, and it's below idle throttle, so it doesn't happen very often. I'm just kind of poking and prodding at the camera real quick to make sure that there's not anything weird going on, like a screw that's loose or anything like that. It seems pretty fine. This is a build that's got a RunCam Nano 3 in an old school Mobula 6 mount. Old school Mobula 6 canopy, I should say. With that wacky little plastic mount in the back. Just take another little look here. That plastic mount has the screws going through it, and you always kind of want to check, not always, but every once in a while you want to kind of check those screws. And yeah, everything looks fine there. So my guess is the little bit of jello is just from these tiny little motors being a little bit out of balance. The propellers on here are not brand new, but they haven't really been smashed all that bad. So yeah, I mean, jello in analog footage, like, who cares, right? You're not using analog footage for any kind of cinematic uses. It's just really flying for fun. So, like, who cares about the jello? And, like, as you can see, it doesn't happen all that often. It's just really every so often. You can go chase it around as much as you want. I would try different propellers first. I'm running the Gemfan 1610s. Maybe the HQ ultralight props are a little bit better balanced. These props are balanced enough, though. I don't really think that that's much of a problem. And as we talk about a lot, the Gemfan 6010s are a really durable prop. The HQ ultralight props, I would not want to run on something like this that I'm flying outside, flying it around the trees. Those HQ ultralights have a tendency to explode at the hub, and if that happens while I'm flying up above the trees, this thing's never coming down. So I'll stick with a really durable prop like the Gemfan 1610, even if it's a little jello-y. Thump FPV says that cam is super light but awful FOV. So we tested the FOV on these, and it's not as bad as you'd think. I actually have that file sitting right here. So like, where is it? So here's the RunCam Nano 3. I don't know which RunCam Nano 3 this is. And now this is the Foxeer Razor. The Foxeer Razor has like the standard kind of FOV. And so like if you look on the left and right, you can see like the edge of the main new school monitor here. And then if I go up to the Foxeer Razor, yeah, sure, you get a little bit more. You get a little bit more field of view here. You get to see the old ass monitor. And then off on the right side of the screen here, it's really dark, but like here's the handle of the soldering iron, and then the Foxeer Razor, like, yeah, it's over. But I mean, it's not that different. And for how durable and for how light the RunCam Nano 3s are, and the fact that you can run them in the old school Mobula 6 canopy, for me at least, it's a no-brainer. You know, if it's hard for you to fly without super wide angle, then yeah, I get it. But for me, it totally works. I mean, you look at the Flywoo Nano here, and this is a little bit less field of view than the Foxeer Razor. And then if we look at the Caddx Ant, it's roughly the same. CO3 is basically the same as the other two that we were looking at. So yeah, it's not nearly as bad as people sort of make it out to be, in my opinion. Here's the RunCam Nano. Well, you know, here's an interesting comparison, actually. The Tiny Woo Pinch, if you look at the middle of the image, here's the RunCam Nano. The middle of the image, you actually have some detail here. The Tiny Woo Pinch, which is a super popular camera, the middle of the image is really zoomed out. But then if you look at the sides of the image, and the sides of the image are where we calculate, and yeah, that's really where the FOV is. We barely have that second monitor. And then here's the handle of the soldering iron. If we go up by one to the Nano 3, like, yes, the soldering iron moves over, but we didn't lose much on the left. It's one of the things I actually really like about the RunCam Nano is that the center of the image is zoomed in more than the rest of these, so you have some actual detail there. This is a super amount of zoom out on the Tiny Woo Pinch, but I will absolutely admit the top and bottom of the Pinch have quite a bit more field of view. Here's the webcam on the Nano 3. There's the webcam on the Pinch, and then the bottom of the image here, there's just a whole bunch more. You know, you look at where this 75mm rig sits. Oops, sorry. And then it sits here. So from there to there. But yeah, not too bad. The Nano 3 weight and the fact that it works with the canopy are the main selling features for me. And it's all analog, so it all kind of looks like shit anyway. So, like, whatever. I'll take durability and lightweight over a camera that is going to look like ass anyway. You know, the CO3, we all kind of decided is the best looking of the analog cameras. But, like, does it really matter? Like, the CO3, you have to run it. I mean, you don't have to, but there aren't many mounts that fit it because it's such a weird shape. And then you typically end up having to run it in the banana hammock style mount, which kind of sucks and is absolutely nowhere near as durable as the old school Mobula 6 mount. And it doesn't hold the camera level, right? Like the RunCam Nano 3 is mounted with screws. So the camera will always be flat and level, and it'll always be pointing straight ahead. And that really matters. That's unbelievably not something that we get with most of the other mounts that are out there. So, but yeah, no right or wrong answers. I got to drop this camera down a little bit here. Hold on. Oh, come on now. Don't make me loosen it. Well, I think that came down a little bit. Yeah, I think that came down a little bit. So yeah, it's, I used to fly really wide angle. I used to fly like 160, 170 field of view, way back in the day. And then I realized that was a bit much. Like, I didn't need to see that much on the left and right and the top and the bottom. And that wide of a field of view actually can make it a little bit more difficult to shoot gaps because it's so zoomed, it's so wide that the gap that you're trying, as the field of view gets wider, the gap that you're trying to shoot gets smaller and smaller and smaller in your view. And on analog, it's hard to see anything anyway. And so you could make an argument that the Nano 3 is the best camera on analog for shooting gaps. And you know, who doesn't like to shoot gaps? So yeah, is what it is. In the chat, Douglas 6 was first. Bob Bruce, Spaceman Spiff. I don't know what's going on with my voice. It sounds like I'm about to lose it, but we'll see. Chaser FPV, Levster, Raf FPV, Johnny V, Cole Powers, Uriel, Matthew Wagner, CM Mike K FPVs in the house. Frosty, Frank Nicholas, Uriel, Christian M, Thumpa, Brent Anderson, Fizz PV, Smoking Dog Cujo, BMF Spade, Uriel, Chaser, Don E with a $1.99 super chat. Thank you, brother. I don't know why I said dollar so weird. Tiago Garcia, Sam, Yukon FPV, Benny Bravo, Skull. What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming. It's gonna be a little bit of a low-key stream tonight. I'm just kind of starting to feel a little bit better. Again, I don't know what the hell's going on with my voice though. But yeah, just starting to kind of feel better and get back into it. Yeah, lots of stuff to get caught up on. Good God, Etsy orders have all been caught up on. They're all in the mailbox. They're all good to go. I apologize for the delay. These two weekend getaways really knocked me out, and I actually ran out of a bunch of the drill bits. So I was waiting for them to come back in, but we're good to go now. Uriel, if you want to talk directly to me in the chat, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV. B-Bird with a $10 super generous super chat. He says, thanks for trying the iGow challenge last stream. Maybe I'll try it again tonight. Oh my God, you son of a bitch. That's a mosquito. I don't love killing living things, but mosquitoes can go to fucking hell. I didn't get him. How did I not get him? He's gonna bite me, that little jerk off. Where is he? Where'd you go, you bastard? Oh God, the mosquitoes. It was nice being able to like go outside, you know? That's gone. Ah! And now you're dead, jackass. They didn't even try to get out of the way, man. They're just like, nah, bro. I'm just going to land right here and stare at you and then bite you and make you itch like a bastard. No, you're not, bro. You're going to get pulverized. Yeah, I have a couple more. I have a couple of these big, silly 1S 450 and 550 batteries that need to get drained. And so for our 6 batteries, I'll fly those. They'll last the same amount of time as 6 batteries would. And we'll get to see how impossible it is to fly 75mm inside the house. Do I have a couple? I do. I do indeed. Cool. So we'll do that. Uriel says, oh, happy tea, y'all. CiottiFPV and all. CMYK says, what's up, gangly gang? And Ciotti. Uriel says, my big brother rules hell. Christian M says, I think I saw the X12 is out of production. What's a good good alternatives for 2S is there? You know, this rig is as insane as it feels to recommend anything HDLRC. This build has the HDLRC Spectre, which claims that it's 1S and 2S. I found out the hard way that it does not work on 1S, but it's been running totally fine on 2S. So, yeah, I guess technically the HDLRC Spectre is an option. I would search around a little bit to try if you can find a 1S Mobula 7 1S ELRS, because that comes with the X12, and you can usually get it with a half-decent set of motors. Swap it over to the V3 frame, put a BT 3.0 on it, and away you go. So that's what I would personally do. Brent Anderson says 7 o'clock surprise forgot how to yee-hoo. Sam says I found a replaceable CO3 lens which gives you 170 FOV. Stock is 160. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know about going that wide on the FOV. Like with digital, it's one thing because you got plenty of pixels to play with, but boy, analog looks bad. The more I fly digital, the more every time I go back to analog, I'm like, yo, I can't see. I love the durability. I love the lightweight. I love the cheapness. But man, it is easy to get spoiled with digital video systems. FPV says, I actually really like the BI. The way the lens curves, the fisheye, I can always at whatever pitch I'm flying. Yeah, I like the BI too. You know, you can get used to any of these, right? Like some of these lenses have really wild like fishbowl effect, but if you put 50, 100 batteries through them, you know, it's you'll absolutely get used to whatever the field of view is and whatever the fishbowl effect is. So yeah, it's just a situation of like just pick one and away you go. Benny Bravo says, I want to thank you every little bit of your amazing knowledge. I've been flying for a little over 7 months on my third whoop and loving it. Hummingbird V4 is decent. You're certainly welcome, Benny Bravo. Thank you for enjoying the insanity and flying good stuff rather than just flying random shit that weirdos tell you to build on Facebook groups and Reddit. YouTube did the thing, trying to find my place. Quadbod's in the chat. What's up, homie? He says, would the Spedix GS25 25 amp BLHeli-32 ESC be a good backup ESC for 3-inch freestyle with Xnova 1804's T3140s? Found some for $45, and I think you had them on Ripsqueaks. Yeah, I've had really good luck with the Spedix GS25s. Here's the problem. Since they're BLHeli-32, don't buy more than one. Just buy one, hook it up to BLHeli-32, and see what version it's on. If those are on a super old version of BLHeli-32, like, for example, an old enough version that it doesn't have RPM filter, bidirectional D-shot, rather, it's kind of worthless, right? Like, regular old Blue Jay will outperform that. So careful with, and a lot of times like that. So that Spedix GS25 was discontinued a long time ago. And so when you find all of a sudden that there's an FPV shop that has a bunch of them, they've been sitting on a shelf for a long ass time. Like they might be like the very first generation. So yeah, I would not buy a whole bunch of those. I would buy just one, check the version in BLHeli-32, and it's not going to be on the newest version of BLHeli-32, but so you're probably not going to have high and low PWM, but if it's at least a new enough version, if it's at least on a new enough version of BLHeli-32 that it has bidirectional D-shot, you're kind of fine. The high-low PWM, like, it performs a little bit better, but realistically, you just want to put it onto 48K and just leave it there forever. Like, that's the benefit of the motor braking on 24 is, yeah, it exists, but it's not that bad. It's not that drastic, I should say. 48, you know, as evidenced by all these Blue Jay rigs, locking the PWM at 48 works great. And you can still have a rig that flies absolutely fantastic. So yeah, that's what I would do. Where was I? Oh wow, I missed a whole bunch of the chat. Hold on. Kelvin Knudsen says, F depression, I microdose mushrooms to help with mine, and it's still a never-ending battle. Yeah, whatever works, man. Whatever works, brother. Different things help for different people. Uriel says, hell yeah, make mood. Tiago Garcia says, thinking of doing a 2S build with 1S batteries connected in series. That's a That's a great way to go. The annoying thing about that is how do you keep the batteries from like ejecting? But yeah, that's a great way to go. I'm worried about the max current of the BT2 connector and the 20 AWG cable it comes with. What do you think about it? You'll be fine. I mean, you'll have double BT 2.0 connectors, so you'll be fine, right? And that wire gauge you'll be totally cool with. Yeah, think about it this way. 20 AWG cable is, I believe, what they use on giant 5-inch motors. They certainly use it on micro motors, and they make orders of magnitude more thrust than tiny whoops. So yeah, 20 AWG will be totally fine. Levster says, "Don't worry about the Cambro. Don't worry, the Cambro. Just important to see your beautiful face." Thank you, dude. Islander FPV says, "How do you format your 04 air unit internal storage? Do you have to do it through the goggles?" Yes, you have to do it through the goggles. You Can FPV says, "Did you see Fractal's 1S AIO? I did not. Is it any good?" Mike K says, "Am I the only one that likes flying a Meteor 75 indoors?" You're probably not the only one, but more people, I would think, like flying 65s inside so they don't destroy all their belongings. And it changes directions a lot easier. Everyday with Bruno says, "Best place to pick up the prop popper, tinywhoop.com. Hey, Custom FPV's in the chat. What's up? And Nightwing. Oh shit, look at you guys. Which one told the other one? Custom, I'm putting you in as a moderator. Don't moderate, though. I just want your name to light up in blue so that I can see you. Can manage blocked words, change chat modes. Also has not. We want you as a standard. There we go. Nightwing says, "Was sweet to meet you last weekend." Yeah, man, I wish we'd gotten to hang out. You were busy when I was busy, and I was busy when you were busy. But yeah, it was super cool to meet you. I thought that I'd met Nightwing before, but apparently I hadn't. And he recognized me, but I didn't recognize... Like, all right. Friends, Romans, countrymen, I don't know what any of you look like. Even if I've met you before, like, I might know what you look like if I've met you before, but I don't know what any of you guys look like. Like, you know... There's a thing called a parasocial relationship, which is when you guys know everything about me and I don't know anything about you. One of the things that I don't know about you is what you look like. I should have known what Nightwing looks like because he has been in a couple of Tiny Whoop videos, but you know I watch thousands of videos and so it just gets erased from my brain. So yeah. For example, the first time that I met Joshua Bardwell at Quad Camp Atlanta, we're going 6, maybe 7 years back. I opened the window and I was like, "Oh, Joshua, hey, man." And he went, I thought that he just knew me because I'd watched him for hundreds of hours, right? He had no way of knowing who the hell I was. And so I'm as guilty of it as anybody else. But yeah, it's a funny thing, man. It's a funny thing, you know. You look at your screen and see someone else, and like your monkey brain is just like, "Oh well, yeah, I was looking at them. They must have been looking at me." But you know, there's no. It's just a lens. It's all dark in there. I look into the darkness. I only see darkness. Quadbod says, "Thanks very much. I'll look into it." You got it, brother. Tiago Garcia says, "Thanks a lot. You're certainly welcome." Elias says, "Am I the only one who constantly breaks stuff on the Air 65? No. The frames are super fragile. They break all the time. I'm on my 4th AIO in 3 months. That's a bit much. At $60 each. I'm jokingly considering quitting Tiny Whoops because it's so expensive. Get a 2G4. It'll never break. It's $15 more. Also, why do you keep buying the AIOs? Are you not contacting Betaflight and saying, "Yo, what the hell?" 4th AIO in 3 months. You should have been, when each one of those broke, you should have messaged Tiny Betaflight or wherever you bought it from and said, yo, I only put 15 batteries through this and it's already broken. Can you help me out? Nightwing says we're a package. Nice. Are you guys living together? Are you guys roommates? Uriel says mushrooms or ayahuasca. It's all about DMT. Eat watercress like your sheep, and you will. I don't know what that word is or that word. The pineal gland. Render says, "What's up?" Cold Power says, "You think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark." I just recently watched that movie. Igal's in the house as well. What's up, Dan? Dan says, "Nice to meet you." Oh, nice to meet at the thing. I thought you were being funny here in the chat, as if it was the first time. Yeah, Dan and I got to hang out a bunch on Sunday night, I think it was. Again, Dan is another one that I thought that I'd met before, but I hadn't. For some strange reason, I thought that I'd met him either at the Tennessee race or at Rampage, but I hadn't. I literally think it is. In this case, I literally think it is that I've watched so much of the iGao stuff in the previous years. I've looked at a screen that's had Dan's face on it so much that I thought that I'd met him, right? Oh, you guys aren't roomies anymore? That's sad. That makes me sad. What the hell? No, Dave Gunna says, were your Walksnail VTX repaired, and how much did it cost, including shipping? It was a lot, but I sent them a lot. I sent them, I sent Walksnail a naked Vista, a regular Vista, a big-sized Walksnail VTX, another full-size Vista, and 4 of the Walksnail light VTXs. And it was, I think it was like 120 or something. It was the total cost was expensive, but the per item repair was not bad at all. I think there were 2 of the Walksnail lights that needed the full like $45 repair. A bunch of the repairs were like $2. I don't know what that was about. But yeah, it was super reasonable. It did take a little bit of time, but like they were waiting for me to get back to them for a while. But yeah, I highly recommend it. If you've got broken Walksnail stuff, go on their website. They'll explain how to do it. It's kind of email intensive. Like you got to do a thing, and then it generates an email, and then they email you, and then you got to email them, and then you got to buy something on their website, and then you got to email them back. But it's not bad. It's not that bad. It's worth it. Tiago Garcia says, "What's your best 1 to 2 SAIO recommendation?" No such thing as best. There's just different. 1 to 2S, there aren't many options, and I actually did an entire live stream about this. So you're in luck. The X12 is the easy button. But, so if we search just my channel here for 2S. There you go. Well, I mean, so this is kind of specific for HD builds. So if you're looking to do an HD build, this live stream is the jam for you. If you're looking to do an analog build, I just put the link in chat. If you're looking to do an analog build, the only ones I really know of are the Happy Model X12 and this HGLRC Spectre. If you can find the X12, I would go with that. The X12 comes in the Mobula 7 1S ELRS, and then you just solder a BT 2.0 up to it, and away you go. So yeah, kind of depends on what you're building. Cran33 says, "Got my first Whoop Hummingbird V4, crashed it a bunch, and a motor wire snapped off. How hard is that as a first solder fix?" It's not easy, I'll say that, but might be able to get it. It depends on where the motor wire snapped off. If it snapped, hopefully it snapped off from the base of the motor. If it snapped off from the plug, just get a replacement motor. Just contact Newbie Drone, tell me you need a replacement motor, and then you can just plug and play. You'll screw it in and plug it in, away you go. But more than likely is that it broke off from the base of the motor. You're gonna want a set of nerd goggles to be able to see what the hell you're doing. Just type in like head-mounted magnifying headset or some shit like that on analog, and you'll find this exact thing. These are amazing. And yeah, that's the main thing that you probably don't have that's going to help you solder something so painfully small. You're also going to want some fine-tipped tweezers for sure. You might not have a set of them. That's going to help quite a bit as well. Nathan Wells says, just joining chat, thoughts on Betaflight Pavo Femto as a droner? As a donor? Oh, as a donor for a 2S Mobula 7 frame swap. What? Pavo Femto. Isn't that like one of these Cinewoop looking bastards? Yeah. So this is a weird... This would be a weird rig to... This is an awful expensive rig to buy to rip apart. What's the thought process there? What... Do you already have it, I guess? I don't know anything about this, the AIO that's on this. Frame, where the hell's the AIO? Well, this is the 04 version. Without HD VTX. Really? You're not going to tell me which AIO it is? I'm going to light your face on fire. What's happening? Here we go. F4 2 to 3S 20 amp. You don't need all that. You don't need a 20 amp. You don't need a 2 to 3S either. You want a 1 to 2S. F4 2 to 3S. So then if I go in here, F4, where's the 2 to 3? Yeah, see, so I thought so. So I'm pretty sure this is the AIO. See this big dumb thing in the back here? That's not going to work for you. So yeah, no. That's a big no. That's not going to clear a regular tiny whoop frame. You need to find an AIO that's just normal. This also looks super oversized, so that would give you problems too. So yeah, can't do that. Not a good AIO for that. The Betaflight AIO that you would want is this one. That I know it says 1S, but it's actually 2S. I don't really understand why this is the deal. Literally on the board, it says 1 to 2S. And I've put hundreds of batteries through the version 3 of this AIO, and it's on 2S, and it's been totally fine. So for what you're talking about, this is what you want. F4 1S 12 amp AIO brushless flight controller 2022. Cool. What else is happening here? Dave Gunna says, did you pay import duty also? I don't think so, because I think it was early enough to avoid the fascism. So I don't think I did. Elias says, I wrote Betaflight and they said it's a part that wears. I got one replaced, but when I asked them 3 weeks later, they said they couldn't do it. They do it anymore. The other shop said basically the same. That sucks. It's good that you got one repaired, though. Dave Gunna says, thanks, that's good to know. They provide a good service, in reference to Walksnail. Elias, that sucks, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of the 2G4. That's like my absolute, yeah, S tier Tiny Whoop AIO. It's $75 from Weebleed, which is kind of expensive, but it's really good. Like it's gonna last you. If you look at like money per batteries before fire, it's gonna really last a long time. Which AIO is that you're getting? Is it the Air AIO or is it the Matrix that you're having all these problems with? Elias also says they said they couldn't replace it because I soldered them in and they couldn't confirm it's a problem from the factory. Yeah. So basically they blame me. Yeah, it's tough, man. Like, especially a manufacturer like that, right? Like, how many emails a day must they get from brand new people that, you know, hold the soldering iron like this? Nathan Wells says Pavo Femto as a... Okay, we already talked about that. Uriel says beaver checker. Check for animals. That's strange. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about... And I'm going to put on some more flight footage here. So here's the rest of the flight footage from today. That was the third battery that I flew. Before we go there, Mobula 7 V3 frame, which has the perfect little battery bay for the Tiny Whoop 2S 300 mAh BT 3.0 batteries, which are unbelievably lightweight and just are perfect on this build. HGLRC Spectre AIO or Happy Model X12 AIO. BT 3.0, which you can solder up really short and run through the back of the frame here, which is amazing because it keeps these batteries from shooting out the front. Tiny Whoop 0802 19,000 kV motors with 1.5mm motor shafts. A rig this heavy with this much power, 1.5mm motor shafts are an absolute necessity for durability. RunCam Nano 3, old school Mobula 6 canopy, ORT Micro V antenna, and then HD0 goggles with the coolest looking vinyl sticker overlay ever, with rapid fire, True RC, Singularity Ultra Long, and I'm trying this out. This is the Menace RC Bandicoot. It's a patch antenna that's specifically designed for linear antennas. It's not right-hand polarized. It's not left-hand polarized. It's just like a linear patch antenna. These ORT Micro Vs do not have any polarization. They are linear antennas. So yeah, I'm trying this out. It's kind of ugly. I'll paint it gray one of these days to match the goggles. But so that's what you saw at the beginning of the live stream, and that's what you're going to see two more batteries of right now. And yeah, we're gonna just kind of get in the weeds here with 2S 1.6 inch prop kind of setup. So let me turn the volume down. So yeah, this is I don't know what I think the VTX was on 400 here. I don't know. It was just saying 0 in the goggles. But I had told it to be 400. This is me standing inside the house. I'm standing inside the front door of the house. This would be much better if I was standing on the front patio, but the mosquitoes are already here, and so yeah, I'm not getting all chewed up just to whop around in the front yard. I don't really want to fly much farther than these couple of houses right in front of me. So it's fine when it gets kind of noisy. Throttle value is over here on the right side. The amp readout is pretty kind of close. And then individual, well, it is a single cell, so individual cell voltage in the bottom left. This is so much fun. Like, flying this build and builds like this in the front yard like this is... Oh, also, motor limited to probably 90% by now. Maybe still at 85%. This is incredible. That right there, this shows you how little wind there is. Ready? Little tiny rig with big old ducts, right? big old prop guards. Little to no wind here. I'm in like central / northern Georgia. Lots of trees to kind of block the wind. Even when we have days that are kind of windy here, having all these trees around really does a good job at kind of like knocking down the wind. And I haven't had any problems flying this thing out in front and behind the house. It's been just perfect. I've had pretty much no scenarios where I notice the wind moving me around. When I fly it up above the treetops, if it's a windy day, absolutely it starts to get pushed around. But the beauty of this build to me is that I can drop down here in the bushes and shit. This is where it being lightweight and small is like really, really, really nice. So, and you can also fly this thing around inside the house, either this battery or the next battery. I blopped it around inside the house. I don't recommend it. It's a little bit too heavy and it's got way too much power for inside the house, but it is totally doable. I think it's actually here. No, I thought maybe the battery ejected, but it was fine. And so, yeah, I absolutely love flying this thing in this kind of setting. This is a little sketchy. I'm lucky it didn't fall into the goddamn gutter there. Because I don't have a way of getting up on the roof. That would have really sucked. But yeah, if you're in a similar scenario where you don't have a lot of wind, and you're looking for something that can fly big and small, I'm not going to say it can fly big. It can't. It can fly like medium to small. This is just outrageously fun. At least 3 minutes of runtime, even like really blasting around. If you fly it like a sane person, you'll get like 5 minutes of runtime on these little 2S300s with BT 3.0. And let me give you a weight. Hold on. Ishibu. Hold on. I gotta put batteries back in this little scale here. So there you go. There was the first battery that I flew today. Was I flying around the house a little bit? Nah, it must be the next battery that I flew around the house. Hold on. Oh, wait, that was that one? Okay, then this should be the one that I flew around the house. Okay. So, dry weight on the whoop is 24.5 grams, 24.5. With a battery, the all-up weight, with a little bit of cloth tape around the battery to keep it from moving around in the battery bay, pretty much right on 40 grams. So 40 grams all up is what you're looking at here. In a little bit here, I'm going to play some flight footage from Denver at a mile up, a mile of elevation. I should have cranked the motor output limit up in Denver, but I didn't think to do it. The thinner air made a really big difference, and with wind, it was rough. I still had a blast, but good God, did the wind ever push this thing around. And I kind of wish that I brought the 2-inch setup for that. I've absolutely noticed that the 2-inch builds, either because they make more power or because they're heavier, in the wind, they just don't get as abused. They don't get pushed around as much, which is kind of interesting. Like you would sort of think that the fact that it's bigger, the bigger frame, the bigger props, it would catch more of the air. But I guess like the weight offsets that, and the 2-inch builds are quite a bit heavier on the H2. The 2-inch build that I've got is on 04, and I'm comparing that to a 1.6-inch 04 build, similar to this one, just with the 7 or 8 extra grams of camera and VTX. But yeah, man, this thing is so much fun to fly. If you could certainly put this onto a 1002 motor, and it's going to get a little bit heavier. It's not going to get that much heavier. Like, that might help it maybe just enough in the wind. But I don't really know about that. Doing that, you're going to drop down below, potentially drop down below 3 minutes of runtime. You can go with the 450 2S BT 3.0 batteries that Tiny Whoop sells, but now it's going to get awful heavy for that sort of prop size. With this setup here with these 802s, it's nice and light, and it has this really nice float to it. And yeah, as you can see, you can fly it around the house. Awful lot of power for inside the house. I'm being super careful to not destroy everything in sight. This is where, okay, so this is where I turned up the motor limiting from 85. Yeah, there it is. Motor out limit 85 up to 90. Still flyable in the house. I could hear at full throttle. I could hear the higher pitch. So it is the 802s are able to push these 1610 propellers up to the higher RPM of 90% motor limiting. And it doesn't look like it's hitting the ESC too hard. I just saw 10 amps for a split second there. 12 amp ESC, but the burst rating is probably like 14, so more than enough headroom. You know, that's a total amp number. So until you see 48, you're fine with a 12 amp ESC. So there's the 1S analog kind of setup. Now we're going to jump into some Denver flight footage so you can see that same exact rig in the wind. All right, hold on. Here we go. All right, so this is an unreasonable amount of wind. Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. But just to give you some idea of a real limitation of 1.6, like, this is easily 15 miles an hour of wind, if not 20. Like, all that angle to be going this slow, like, look, so the wind is obviously going from left to right, the way that I'm sort of oriented right now. Now it's going right to left. Kind of ridiculous. I don't know if if a 2-inch setup would actually be any better in this scenario. I think it would, but I don't think it would be I think it would be pretty much just as unflyable. And a 2-inch setup is going to be even harder to fly inside the house. And it really, I can't possibly recommend that. So, I don't know. The 2-inch thing is going to be like a little bit better, but not that much better. But like, if you're building something from scratch and your plan is to fly it outside a lot, yeah. If you live somewhere that's a little bit windy, might be the way to go. For a rig that's carrying digital, I think it's a lot. It has a lot more value. For these analog setups, I don't really know. Hopefully, I'll know soon because I am going to do a build with one, and we'll see. Hopefully, I can find get it built and get a windy day up in here and see if there really is that much of a difference. I mean, I don't see why there wouldn't be. If like the digital rigs, yeah, sure, they're carrying an extra 8 grams. And that is certainly going to make the 2-inch, yeah, a bigger prop, bigger motor setup is going to handle that better. But still, this analog rig getting a bunch heavier would help it not get as affected by this amount of wind. But again, like we talked about earlier, it's also going to be bigger. The frame's going to be bigger. The props are going to be bigger. They're going to be catching more of the cross breeze. But I noticed that with the HD rigs, absolutely in the wind, the 2-inch rig was better. So that same thing should sort of apply. But like, I don't know, with the 2-inch rig, it's so much. One of the things I really love about these 1.6s is that they can fly inside. So if you're like inside of like a big gym or something like that, they're gonna rip and they're gonna feel a lot smaller. So I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. I'm so in love with the way that this thing flies in the bushes. Like being able to change directions as quick as it does in the bushes. Some of that is going to be lost. Look how bad it's pushing me. Some of that's going to be lost with the 2-inch kind of setup. So let's go to a battery with a little bit less wind. Here you go. So there's a little bit less wind here. This was great fun. Great fun. And so, yeah, I mean, it's really, like, to me, the 65 mil rigs are just for inside. Inside and, like, jungle gym bashing. And then these 75s are, like, the perfect mix of indoor and outdoor, even with 2S. And then the 2-inch builds, those become kind of like outdoor only. And like my main thing at that point is maybe you should be building a non-ducted setup, right? Like the biggest problem with this getting pushed around by the wind are the prop guards or the ducts, whatever you want to call them. But when you do that, when you build a rig without ducts, you lose the accuracy. And you lose this float. Like, if you don't have a ton of wind, these guarded rigs float so nice. And they're 100% safe. Like, you're not going to hurt a fly, ever. And people look at them like silly little toys, which is just amazing. And so it's tough, man. It's really tough to, like... It would be so nice to have... I think this is the most versatile setup. I think this 2S 75mm motor-to-motor 1.6-inch prop setup is the most versatile. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. But good God, with this much wind, like, this is more me holding on for dear life and trying not to have the wind blow me into something that's not recoverable than me, like, super enjoying flying. And so it's really tough. I am going to be diving into a bunch of non-prop guarded setups here this summer to see if, to try to find that best sort of combination. There's never going to be one rig that can kind of do it all. I have a feeling this might be as close as we're ever going to get to that. But yeah, like, there's always going to be significant strengths and weaknesses to prop guards versus no prop guards, and then propeller size, right? 1.2 inch, 1.6 inch, 2 inch, and also the voltage, right? But the voltage is pretty straightforward. Like on 65mm builds, it's 1S, period, the end. On 75mm builds, really, you want to go 2S. There's not much of an argument for 1S at this point because it's not really any lighter. It's barely any lighter, and you get way less performance, way less runtime, way less everything. It really is 2S or nothing above 65mm rigs as far as I'm concerned. There's just no benefit to the 1S setups. They're not... the 1S 450 mAh batteries are just not light enough. They would need to be like 3 or 4 grams lighter for it to make any sense compared to these 2S BT 3.0 batteries. The jello is a little bit more noticeable here. The props are clean. The motors are clean. Kind of annoyed by the jello, if I'm honest. But again, this is a freestyle rig. Who cares if there's jello? You're not doing anything with this flight footage. So, there you go. There's 65 getting mangled by the wind. I don't have... It's not on this computer. On the laptop, I have some flight footage of the 2-inch rig getting mangled by the wind in Long Beach. So it's like, well, and you Patreons have access to that, right? The California rough draft edit that I put up. That's me editing out as much of the 2-inch rig getting its ass handed to it by the wind. And so yeah, for 04, the 2-inch setup is really cool because you've got the weight penalty of the 04 and you've got the latency penalty. Dropping down into the bushes and carving around real quick and fast, that's going to be really difficult. Like when you put 04 on there, to me, it's more of a cinematic kind of platform, and having the heavier setup with more power, I think starts to make an awful lot of sense. So I have a funny feeling that I'm going to do this 2-inch analog build, and it's not going to be like better enough in the wind. And I have a funny feeling that it's going to be like, you know, if you're going 75 with 2S for analog, you might as well keep it to a 1.6 inch prop. But we'll see. Maybe the 2-inch setup really shocked me with the 04. Maybe it blows me away on analog as well. There's only one way to find out. Calvin says, I've been taking the HDLRC 1S Shark frame and swapping everything from an 04 light build onto it using Betaflight 1002 22,000s, exposed props, but carbon frame and fast. Yeah, when you take the prop guards off, the speed goes mental. Because one of the reasons that it becomes so much harder to fly in tight spots is exactly that. So it drastically changes the flight performance. Elias says it's the stock flight controller on the Air 65. I think it's the Air AIO, but the 5-in-1 version. Yeah, you need to switch over to the Matrix AIO, man. Look, with any of these like ultra lightweight flight controllers, AIOs, there's going to be problems, right? They're making the flight controller so thin that on crashes, it's like tacoing the damn thing. So, you know, the Mobula 6 2024 is kind of the same way. That AIO is not as durable as the 2G4. Your durability's been a bit over the line. I forget what you said. Maybe 4 and 4 months. That's a bit much. But what that means is that you're crashing hard. And so, you know, to me, what that means is that for the way that you fly, those ultralight AIOs are not a good match. Unless you just don't care about the money, right? Like, if you have enough money, to hell with it, right? Keep buying them. And you have the advantage, you know, you're spending the extra money, and the advantage you're getting is the lighter weight. Personally, I would not be willing to spend that much money. And so for me, I would go up to the Matrix AIO, which is heavier and thicker and should be a lot more durable. Mine's been ultra durable. So yeah, man, you know, this is the process. You're knee deep in the process of finding the best AIO for you, right? Like when I say that there is no best, there's just different. I'm saying that kind of like on the surface. Each one of us is going to go through, you know, we're going to fly these things, we're going to tune them, we're going to build them, we're going to crash them. And if you do that enough, you can find the best AIO for you. And it depends upon your budget, your patience, how often you crash, how hard you crash, what you crash into, all this stuff, right? So you're figuring that out, brother. And, you know, like to some extent, you kind of have to go through at least 2, much better case scenario 3 or even 4 of each individual component to make sure that you have enough, a big enough sample size to determine, yes, this is the wrong one. This is not the right component for me. And then you move on and you try something else. You know, I try my best to crash as, I mean, just inherently I crash a lot. But I try my best to share with you guys the durability data or whatever that I get from crashing these things a lot. But there's only so many batteries I can fly. There's only so many walls I can smash into. So Cole Power says, I like big ducks and I cannot lie. You other pilots can't deny when a whoop walks in with an itty-bitty frame and a fat duct in your face, you get launched. Uriel says, you've been through the Guther before you can rise. Bolilo says, built an 04 65mm Cinerig and I put it on 802 25,000 Weebly motors. Should I motor limit or move to 0702 high kV motors to save weight? Definitely don't motor limit 25,000 kV. I would fly it around as is and then snag a set of 702 32,000s or 30,000s and swap them on and see how you like it. The 702s are definitely going to save some all-up weight, and that's what I choose to do. But the 802s are going to run a little bit cooler because they're a wider motor. And some people just like the way the 802s fly. It sounds like you've already got the 802s, so run them. Put a bunch of batteries through it with those motors so that you get used to it. And then when you do the 702s, you'll feel a difference, and you'll see a difference in the runtime, and you can kind of decide. 702s will give you better flight characteristics because they're going to be lighter, but they're going to get a little bit hotter. And so you might actually get, even though the 802s are going to be heavier, you might actually get more runtime out of the 802s. And especially because they're a lower KV. 25,000 KV is pretty low. So, yeah, that's my recommendation. Cole Power says surface area goes up by x squared, volume goes up by x cubed. Mass inertia makes a huge difference in the wind. Nice. I never thought about it from that perspective. That's pretty cool. FizzPV says, although I like how my 75 Pro flies, it's much more limited flying in the shop versus in the yard. Yeah, the 75 Pro is really good. Like, if you're going to do a 1S 75mm rig, I think the 75 Pro is the way to go. Even though it's a lot heavier, the 45mm HQ props are pretty awesome. But, yeah, if possible, with a 75, go 2S. It's just nuts. Nick Hayes says 25,000 kV is kind of low. It's not just me anymore, man. A lot of people have had their eyes opened to the magic. Even some of these racers, the racers are running a lot higher kV now. A couple of years ago, yeah, for sure, 25,000 kV being kind of low would be sort of insane. But nowadays, no way, man. 30,000 kV is like just the beginning of where things start to get kind of interesting. A lot of people are praying to the church of high kV nowadays. All right, let me fly a couple batteries. Let some chat comments kind of build up. I think that's the, oh no, I wanted to go through. Well, I mean, we did watch some of the flight footage. I want to start chopping up some of the Tiny Whoop Open flight footage so that I can submit a bunch of it to Tiny Whoop because they're going to be doing an edit. But let's fly a little bit first here. So you guys just got to see a whole bunch of 2S 75mm. Footage. Now you get to see 1S, but you're going to get to see 1S inside the house. So, totally different scale that I'm going to be flying inside the house here. Tiago has 1300, 500 kV from an old Ishin Novice. Too low for a freestyle rig? Not if you put them on 2S. On 1S, yeah. That'll barely take off. But so you can get it on 2S. I'm going to run these giant 550 batteries first just to get warmed up. This is a build that Cloudhopper very kindly put together and sent over and didn't let me send back to him, which was cool of him. So this is like my Happy Model 1S build, and it will be pretty much forever. So this is Mobula 7. I've taken apart all of mine. Mobula 7 V4 frame, custom wound Happy Model RS0802 motors. They're wound basically the equivalent of 30. He thought that he was winding them for 36,000 kV. When I tested them, they spun the same RPM as the Tiny Whoop Happy Model 33,000 kV motors. So I think these are roughly wound to 33,000 kV, 802. I've got the HQ ultralights on it, RunCam Nano 3, Mobula 6 canopy, X12 AIO, and Cloudhopper did a custom little micro V antenna. Very, very cool out of a whip antenna. First battery is going to be a 550 heavy ass 1S. And it's going to fly like absolute shit on this battery, but it'll fly for a long time, which is kind of funny. Oh, nope. Motors are being a little weird just now. Okay. Here we go. 1S75. Whoa, hey. Whoa, hey. Okay. Hover point way higher. Also, a surprising amount of jello. What's with the rates feel weird, too. I'm flying with the transmitter in my lap now, though. Man, I get spoiled by that 2S build. Jesus hell. Hey. Hey, fella. Take it easy. Hey. Hey. It bobbles around a little bit. What's happening there? Kind of needs more anti-gravity, but let me check something. It's a bunch of jello too. Let's check the health of the propellers and motors. Whoa. Motor 1 is kind of banged up. Motor 2 feels fine. Motor 3 is kind of banged up too. Motor 4 is fine. That's weird. The motors in the back are banged up. It could be the propellers. Let's go full throttle on each one and see if there's a difference in RPM. Let's see. Nah, it's the same pitch on all four, so they're all making roughly the same amount of power. Let me just do this real quick. Let me just take a quick look at the tune. The tune's pretty aggressive. Let's go a little farther with it. Hold on. Eye gain is cranked. I want to turn up anti-gravity, but I don't know where that is in here. Yeah, there we go. Anti-gravity gain. Let's go up to 10. Maybe that'll take care of that. Maybe between that and the PIDs. A little bit better. A little bit less of a bobble there. Oh man, I fucking chewed through this battery. Jesus. This is a 550. See those big bobbles? I don't know what's going on with that. Little bit, why are you sleeping again? What is she watching? Queso? That's not Queso. What is that? What's she watching? Who's this man? Oh, she's watching Kunk. That's cool. Almost got her. Oh my god, it's so heavy. Oh! Oh no! Help me! Help me, little boat! Help me! Help! Yay! Thank you! Oh boy, Teddy's upset. Oh god. He's gonna try to fly down the stairs backwards and watch him. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Tedwardo, come downstairs and be a lunatic. Oh god. Oh no. Alright, this battery's done. Wow, I got shit, a little over 3 minutes. That's actually not terrible. Where's all that jello coming from, man? Why do all these analog rigs have jello all of a sudden? What's that about? Doesn't really matter, though. Alright, so there's the 550. Which cat says, how do you check the RPM of a motor? You kind of don't. I mean, you sort of can in Betaflight in the Motors tab, but I don't know how accurate that really is. And the problem with that is that you have to check it with the props on. If you check it with the props off, most of these motors will spin so fast that they max out the ESC's ability to report back. So like every single motor over a certain kV will say that it's 85,000 RPM because yeah, we're going beyond the limits of what an 8-bit ESC can output. Let me push the idle up on this a little bit. It's barely spinning the motors when I first arm it. Let me just jump in here and kick this idle up ever so slightly. Not using dynamic idle, I'm using the regular idle, and I'm going to move it up to 9%. Hopefully that's enough. I also might as well put air mode on a switch on this. So turn off permanent air mode, save and reboot. Connect. Modes. Now I should have the air mode option in here somewhere. There it is. Add range. Hit my momentary switch. And so I want it on down here and then off when I flip that switch. Cool. Good to go. Take a quick look at the PID tuning. We're pretty aggressive here, 1.8, 1.5. We moved the anti-gravity up to 10. iTerm relax is 10 as well. That's where we want it. 100% motor output. Dynamic idle is off. Yeah, this looks about right. Pretty aggressive PIDs. You can really tell with 75mm rigs that the response time kind of sucks because you have to run the PIDs this aggressive to get decent flight performance out of them. That's one of like the telltale signs. With the 2S rigs, you don't have to do that. You can run like normal PIDs, and they perform great. All right, another battery on this guy. Another 550 too, actually. And the motor idle is still not enough. It's still... Never give up! It's still barely spinning the motors. Yikes. That's the television. Damn you! Trying to go backwards through these gates and it won't let me. I'm trying to do that, but actually go through them. Oh my god. Oh boy. Man, it's been a while since I flew 75mm rigs in the house. It is as torturous as I remember. Good lord. Oops. Come on. You don't have enough power to turn yourself over? That's pretty insane. Oh, come on now. Did I throw a propeller? Yeah, left rear has no propeller on it. Now the game of did the HQ ultralight explode or just fly off? It exploded! Fail! Man. These props are rough, bro. Okay. So I would, at this point, just plug in this Air 65, but the same thing happened the other day. The propeller just exploded. So I'm going to have to fix this. CiottiFPV.com is where you support me, my friends. It's the only way I can do this full time. Join the Patreon. Buy some of my time through Fiverr. buy some of my stuff over on Etsy. Use a bunch of affiliate links. Lots of different ways you can support me so that I can buy more HQ ultralight props since they keep exploding. And food for the children, more importantly. Brenderson says 75 Pro with an 85mm battery, chopped, and E6000 is becoming my fave. What is an 85mm battery? FPV says Fractal want to say I was modular. You can replace the ESC if you burn it up, so that's cool. Just wanted to know what your thoughts are about it. That is pretty cool. Cold Power says I'm hammering my newbie drone H4, Hummingbird V4, I think that means. It was doing great until my dog picked it up. Now it's down a couple motor plugs, and I had to direct solder them. How was direct soldering them? Was it a pain in the ass? Which cat says, no, we talked about that. Kelvin says, I flew my first 260 mAh batteries today. Started with 300 on 65 short battery life, but my God, the speed and response. Yeah, the smaller than 300 mAh batteries are outrageous in terms of weight. It is such a difference. Super cool. What do I need? High right for this? Yeah, high right. Let's drill this out real quick so that it doesn't get stuck on the motors or ruin the motor. Yikes. Don't want to come off of there. That's a good thing. That means we're removing a bunch of material and it would have been way too tight. All right, one more. Okay, that should be about perfect. So this, hold on now. Look at all this hair on here. This Air 75 has been beaten pretty good. The frame has broken 2 times in the back and 1 time in the front. I've fixed both of the brakes in the rear. I haven't fixed the broken frame in the front yet. There we go. That was a purple hair, so that's an azalea hair. That's a Florence hair. All right. Air 75 is back. Hold on, let me put these purple hairs in the garbage can here so that I don't suck them right back into the motors. And then we got some fancy green props on here. Ooh, I'm going to spin this motor 3 up again and see if with a fresh propeller it's any better. So we need a high left. Looks like I'm out of green props. That's a shame. All right, let's drill this one as well. That's actually really good. That did not need to be drilled. So I've either previously drilled it or these HQ 1.6 inch 1.5 millimeter. No, I do have another green one. Look at me go. Come on, get out of there. I don't know what I was saying. Still trying to get my brain to reboot all the way back up. These strips just messed me all up. All right, so here's a fresh prop on motor number 3. Let's see if I managed to bang up one of these 1.5 millimeter motor shafts or if it was just a prop problem. So we're going to go into turtle mode, arm it. Motor 1 and prop are still banged up, so I'll spin those up first. What the hell? There we go. Okay, now motor 3. Okay, it was the prop. It was the prop that was on its way out. So there'll be a little bit less. Should be a little bit less jello now. Am I on the right camera on the stream? Sure am. Oh boy. Oh my god, I almost hit Azalea again. Oh god! It feels big, man. It just feels really big in here. Oh shit! Oh my god. It just went through, like, roughly here. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely outrageous. Let's see if I can paste the fan. This is how I'm going to get good at right-handed orbits. I'm very weak at right-handed orbits. Poor battery. Oh god. Oh god! Oh, I made it! Ah, look, here we go. Hold on, ready? Stop it! There it is. I landed on the gangly gang mat! Oh my god. Give me a break. There we go. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh! How the hell it got over there? That was kind of ridiculous. Okay. Come on now. Come on. You can do it. Oh, hey, oh! Oh, man. Ah! This is tough. The 550 mAh battery does not make this any better. But still, man. These bigger whoops inside the house are just... You don't need that extra amount of challenge. Fly lighter weight stuff. Oh, that's the ceiling. Also fly stuff with better response time. The response time on these 75mm rigs sucks until you get up to 2S. And that makes flying in the house really difficult. Got a lot of up tilt on this. Half decent mirror flip though. Shit. Rejected. Got that. You still do stuff. It's harder though. Get off the wall, bro! What are you doing? Yikes. Oop. I over-discharged this battery. Sorry, little buddy. Stop it! Ow! It bit my foot. Wow, I only got 3.5 minutes? That's kind of silly. Motherfucker bit me. You can FPV says the railing gap was sick. I wish I'd done it on purpose. Cole Power says direct soldering was a breeze. There are pads on top. Very cool. Wired both motors in reverse, so I had to flip a couple of leads. Super easy, barely an inconvenience, but yeah, it was inconvenient. I mean, the real inconvenience to me comes as soon as you break a motor. That's really where I get super frustrated with the direct solder motor thing. That's really like the big. Believe me, I would love more power and runtime from direct soldered motors, but I have such a hard time justifying it being so much less serviceable. And like with how often I try different stuff, it's just, yeah, it's a bit much. All right, one more battery on this rig, and then we're gonna do the Air 75 rig for a little bit of a comparison. So we'll be comparing. That rig should be a little bit lighter weight. It should be making a little bit less power, but it has a better camera. This is a RunCam Nano 3, better looking camera, I should say. This is a RunCam Nano 3. That's going to be on a CO3, so if you want a little camera comparison, you're about to get one. So this is now the 450 mAh battery, which immediately feels better. Oh my god, it's still so fucking fat, though! God damn you! Oh, God. Oh, that was rough. That hit pretty hard. Jesus. Stop it. Get out of there. Look at those skinny little legs. Oh, my God. I don't know why I thought I could just rip right into that. Oh, shit. No. Get out. Get out. Parents got us this really cool little schnauzer metal art thing. Look at that. Yeah. Oh, God. Whew, I gotta sit that thing full throttle. Cloudhopper did a hell of a job with this build, man. I think this is about as good as it gets for a 75mm 1S build. Oh, come on. Really? How did that not go through there? Oh my God. How did it get launched out into the thing? Oh my God. No, no, no! That's probably not recoverable. I lied. It's fine. Ooh, ooh. No, no, no. Just completely missed those. Oh! Lots of jello, man. Lots and lots of jello. Is that coming through the stream? Can you guys see that or not? Oh my God, I can't hit that to save my life tonight. Nope. Almost, but still not able to catch it at the end of it. Ugh! One more try. Got it. So there you go. That's basically a Mobula 7 1S all hopped up. Much higher KV motors, same motors that it comes with, but much higher KV with the HQ 1.6 by, I don't know what pitch they are, but the HQ ultralight biblades. Now we're gonna do same exact props, 802s as well, but a much lower KV. Air 75, the AIO that everybody blows up, and a broken frame at the moment, but it shouldn't. The broken frame shouldn't really have much of a negative, if any. CO3 camera now as well, which should be noticeable. And a hair in the camera. A hair in the lens of the camera, which absolutely drives me crazy. Whoa, what was that? Whoo! Shit, son! So this is a very lightweight AIO compared to that X12. This feels quite a bit lighter. It also feels, I'm not going to say quite a bit less powerful, but it does feel less powerful. God damn it. The hover point is way higher too, which is kind of messing me up right now. I tried to back it through these gates. Hold on, let me try that again. Yeah, just force it. It's fine. Ah! Yeah, they... Oh, no. No. Hey! You better have all... Look, it's 840. You better have all flown your 6 batteries. Or you better be flying them right now. Oh, nope. Oh! Oh. No! Nope. Yeah! I love that so much. It's one of my favorite little, like, subtle kind of things to do. Oh, shit. Oh, just caught the 4th one. Oh, no. Yo, yay! Made it out. Hey, there we go. No, no, no! Yes! Whoo! I held my breath there. I didn't want it to fall back down behind. Whoo, shit. Oh no, that's gonna get stuck in the railing. Oh, no, you filthy fucking whore. Oh. Hey! Nope, that was sloppy and ugly. Ah! Ah! No! Nope! Nope! Great runtime on this. Shit, we're over 3 minutes already. It's because the motors are such a low, so much of a lower KV. Oh shit! I meant to do the thing. What is it? It's split S to, so split S to. Split S to Immelman. I'm coming down the bottom and creating too much forward momentum. So split S. Okay. Only went through one of the things. I'm not gonna be able to do it. So I mean that was it, but I just would have needed to go through the goddamn gate. Wait, that's not it. Hold on. Stop it! Stop bouncing from wall to wall! Almost. I don't like the Immelman. I never liked the Immelman. Oh, you fuck. That's the end of that battery. Yeah, I didn't think I'd be able to get it. That's hard, and I'm not very good. There it is. Fly your 6 batteries, my friends, every single day. You'll get way better, I promise. Your flying will be unrecognizable, and before too long, you'll be better than me. Your flying will be unrecognizable from, like, last month. If you fly 6 a day every day, yeah, you look at your flight footage from a month ago, you'll be like, who's that fucking scrub? And then you'll be like, wait, that was me. And then you'll feel bad. Nah, you won't feel bad. You'll feel great. Hingus. What's happening, chat? Denzel the Terrible says, posted a nice pic of your beyond internal nonsense. I saw that. It's a fake vet. Actually, that's an RX-7. Oh, wait, no. It's... Wow. It's a Miata chassis. It's an RX-7 hood and front clip. Maybe even the front fenders. That is horrifying. Horrifying. Here's what Denzel posted. Yikes. Yikes. I tell ya. Brett Anderson says, gotta clip that leg shot for Insta. Spring chilling. Yeah. It's nice to be wearing... this is the first day that I've worn shorts. Just like around the house. It's nice. Craig says, flown 6, several outside, Mobile 7 2S now looks like an old lawnmower. Lots of green tint. Yeah, for the thumbnail image, of this one, I had to desaturate all the yellows because this is all grassed up. Looks disgustingly dirty. I mean, I didn't have to, but I chose to. All right, 1S rigs go away. There, they'll pretty much stay. I don't know when I'll use them again, but hey. Kind of rhymes. Cole Power says, you know, CiottiFPV is struggling when he sounds like a scat musician and/or Charlie Brown's teacher. RJ says, if it isn't kinder green afterwards, did you really fly? Yeah, good call. Good call. I played pretty much all the Tiny Whoop Open footage the other day on the stream. So, I don't know. I would kind of like to do an edit with it, but man, I have a lot of shit to sort through, and I'm in the middle of a couple of other edits right now. Also, I don't necessarily know how to cut analog footage in with HD. Like, I kind of think that this might be a cool intro to it because the Zeppelin station is where, like, the main racetrack was and where we spent most of our time. So, like, I guess I could maybe, like, pull it in like that and then just do a super quick little fade up. Zeppelin station, dive down, and then chop it out when I go smacking into that leaf. Waka, waka, waka. So what I like to do with these crash cuts is you pick, like, the last frame where there's a lot of motion, right? So, like, a lot of motion, a lot of motion, a lot of motion, a little bit less motion, a little bit less, 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 a little bit less. All right, so we got to go back. Probably like here. This is probably realistically the last frame. And then in all that chaos, it just goes to the next, right? It kind of works. Going from analog to HD is pretty fucking jarring. The other thing that you can do is make sure that the clip you're cutting to has a bunch of motion. This is like fast and then like kind of slow. So like, what do I have? Do I have a little bit more at the beginning of this, I wonder? Let's just see. So, It's just me sitting, so that's obviously not going to work. So, like, what do I have that's sort of faster motion here? Perfect. So, we're going to cut to right there. Because that's starting to really move around. And so that should look a lot better. Ready? Watch this. So, come here, chop that. And then butt those up against each other. And now this will be a lot cooler. Ready? See how like all that motion kind of blends together? And that's slick. But I don't like this. I'm going to cut it more, actually. That might be a good spot. Hold on, let's see. Do I have something kind of before that? Ooh. Let's see. Yeah, let's see if this little push back, like right around here. Let's see what this looks like. Cool, that works. Into a nice little Matty flip. Exploring around. Yeah, cool. All right, we'll leave this. Being a little cautious because I knew the wind was going to come back. I should have went ballistic shooting gaps on this battery, though, because that flag is just hanging straight down. That was kind of silly. I should have shot all those gaps in the end of the thing there. End of the crane. All right, so that's a good little spot to cut. Dropping down. Boring. Didn't really get close enough to Matty for you to tell it's even him. This is me just like kind of seeing what was in the parking garage here. Boring. And then that's probably where we'll pick it back up. Yeah. Because this is a half-decent dive. So right around... Right around... That, ripple delete, slam these together. See what this looks like. Dropping down, and then back up. Yeah, so I'll cut that loose because you might need a little bit before, a little bit after to sync that up with the music. And then this is super boring. This is me trying to figure out if I could fly through the damn thing. But boy, it was there was a lot of garbage in there to kind of get around. So kind of loosely cut this. Craig says, did you decide to carry those whoop boxes? Yeah. Custom is working on that 75 2S 65 1S thing. So once he gets the actual design done, the 3D design done, then we'll talk about like colors and all that nonsense. It's a pretty weak end to the dive here. Kind of a shame, but we'll cut it there. Keep going. Zarkad says, listen to your comments over the past few streams on drones for windy places. Can you recommend bind and fly for windy places? I live in New Mexico where it's always windy because Texas sucks and Arizona blows. Unfortunately not. I don't know bind and flies all that well. But the main stuff that I've been talking about is how you're going to choose, from the different bind and flies that are out there. I don't know any of the bind and flies, but if it's really windy, you're going to look for something that doesn't have prop guards. If you still want prop guards, you want to look for something that's like on a 2-inch propeller and has a bunch of power. And I mean, any 2-inch build is going to be heavy. So, yeah. use like the principles that I've been talking about over the past couple of streams and just let that kind of push you into the right bind and fly. It's really hard for me to move away from the prop guards. I mean, these tiny whoops have such a nice flight characteristic that you're seeing right now. By the way, this is the 1.6 inch prop 2S build with 04. And it's magic. It's just terrific. All right, all this junk is getting cut out. Just me farting around. Man lands on transmitter. I'll grab just this little bit, just in case I need it. All right. Ripple delete that, though. What else we got? So that was this first one. Let's drop in the second one. So here, now the wind has kicked up a little bit. But this is also a cool clip because I actually got close enough to Maddie for you to see that it's him. So we're going to clip this right around here. That's actually about perfect there. Looks like you're in a Fallout theater. Craig says, do you notice a difference editing in the new 4 terabyte drive? You know what's funny? I didn't notice until just now, until you said that, which is like great. I don't, because like normally it just works, right? And if it just works, I don't think anything about it. It's when it doesn't work and it's when it starts stuttering all over the place that I get all angry. And it hasn't been stuttering all over the place and I haven't been getting angry. So yeah, definitely a difference. Let's go up to full. Let's go up to full banana boat and see what happens here. So dropping down. Coming over. Yeah, I was never able to run this in full when not on the proxies. Even off of the other the laptop drive, basically. The little tiny laptop drive. That's insane. That it was all I thought it was computer related, but yeah, it's just data transfer rate related. This is all still kind of fun. That's kind of ugly. I wish I hadn't done that, but... And then that's a total fail there. So we're going to cut this here. And then where can we pick this back up? Maybe somewhere in here. No, that was pretty ugly. Where are we going to pick this back up? Whopping around, nothing really great. That's where. And see, so now you can see there's a bunch more wind. And I was just flying to have fun. I was not like in the mindset of like fly good so you can edit it. This is very much me just kind of dicking around. So we're going to cut it here. Get rid of that chunk. Cool. All right, got a little bit here, a little bit here rather. And now you can see it getting just kind of blustered around a little bit in the wind, just that. But like, look how smooth this is, right? Like this is without any kind of stabilization or anything really, in wind that has that flag damn near straight out. All right, now we're getting to sort of Boringsville. That's still kind of cool. Still kind of cool. Kind of cool, I guess. This is just a little split S. The wind really pushed me to the side there, but then I did the split S to the right to pull myself back towards center. This is too much. I gotta chop a bunch of this out. This is too much. And I'm having to make corrections left, right, left because the wind's kind of moving me around. All right, so we're gonna cut down here somewhere. Yeah, we're gonna cut it in here. Drop down to the left, cut it there. Yeah, all right, cool. So we'll get rid of a bunch of this, yada, 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 yada. Split S is nothing really special, but then this is kind of cool, heading back up. And I guess we might as well keep the split S. Start it from right about here. Chop that out, go. Back up. Oh, God, I hate those corrections. I hate making those corrections. Ugh. Oh, why didn't I just charge right through that window? That was unacceptable. I think that's about it. Let's see what the landing looks like. Don't you tell me what to do, Euro. That's a more fun... Nah, not really. I had to take a huge step to the side to grab it. It's much more impressive when you fly it right at yourself and just grab the damn thing. I'm not going to use any of this. But I'll leave it in, just in case it's needed. So this is like... This is what I do for like a first pass, which is just to get rid of all the total trash. I should be getting rid of more. Like we're already at 2 minutes and 19 seconds, which is like way too much for just 2 quick clips. That is my 9 o'clock alarm, my friends. Let's just real quick, just in case you didn't get to see this footage on the other stream, let's just real quick grab a little bit of this file here. It was flying really weird. I'd turn the knob down for some strange reason on the transmitter, so it was only at 50% power. I noticed it quick though. I think I noticed it quick. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so cool little run here. Yeah, so we're gonna start this up here. Right here. Cool. Kill that. This little move here, and then down low, run it up the building. Zarkad says, appreciate all your comments about features for Win. Mobula 8 close, 85mm, maybe swap stock 1103 for 1102. I would leave it on the 1103s. They're real good. The 2-inch props are a lot harder to turn. So yeah, the 1103s, I think, are a big part of the magic of the Mobula 8. So I'd leave them. You! A little bit of a bounce there. Kind of ugly, but not too bad. I think this is where I almost hit the railing. I guess not. Nope. This is where I was just too far away from the building. First couple of dives, I was that float. This is what's really fun about the 1.6-inch prop rigs. This is 0 throttle, and then picking up a little bit of throttle, but like that, it just floats down nice and slow, and it gives you time, and it looks really cool, and it gives like a really fun kind of sense of scale. There's a mistake that'll definitely need to get chopped out. Yikes. Okay, so we can chop this somewhere up here. I gotta cut this up into smaller bits. There's way too much here. I'm starving. I'm gonna go get some food, friends. Fly your 6 batteries. I'll see you guys on Sunday at 3 o'clock Eastern. Hope you learned something. Support me over on CiottiFPV.com, and I'll keep doing this full time. See you later. That's what it looks like when I turn the 2 key lights off. Here's a little bit more flying from earlier. You've already seen this, though. Unless you came in late, then you haven't seen it. Love you, bye. This is Analog 2S. 1.6-inch prop. See you Sunday.